All right, well, my name is Omar Kendall, and I'm the game director at Superbot Entertainment. So each level has quite a bit of interaction to it. The concept that we are using for our levels is kind of a mashup feel. So in this case, we have Hades from God of War presently being invaded by the Patapon armies. So over the course of the match, you'll see Patapon show up. They'll begin to attack the play space. Hades, of course, bad guy, always up to no good. You'll see him attack the play space as well, intermittently. They'll have some play off of each other. It looks like Hades is getting ready for an attack right now. If you jump, you can avoid that shockwave. If you get hit with it, you're temporarily stunned. And each one of our levels kind of has that kind of interaction, both from the level itself and then what we call the mashup, which is, in this case, like I said, the Patapon army. So once it was decided that this was the game that was going to be made, Sony and Superbot, they set about really attracting top-level fighting game talent, both from the development community, people who have made fighting games before, but also from some pretty high-level fighting game players as well. And we have really strong fighting game enthusiasts all over the team and in every department, not just in design, but in programming and animation. It really makes a game like this pretty easy to make. The art director on the game, actually, he's worked on several MMOs, and he gave me a really good analogy one day while talking about the game. He mentioned how on massively multiplayer online role-playing games, it's very traditional for the team to make the warrior class first, because it's sort of the center of the combat system as it exists in most MMOs. So you make the warrior first, and then you kind of build the rest of the classes and the universe around that character. And then after you accumulate all that knowledge, invariably what happens is you go back and make that warrior again. So he starts out as the first character that you make, and he ends up being the last character that you make as well, because all of the accumulated knowledge that you've gathered while making the game goes into making that character that much better. And we've noticed a similar effect on our game as well. A lot of the characters in the build today are some of the characters that we first started out with when creating the game, and subsequently they're also the characters that have had the most iteration and have gone through sort of the most versions and transformations. I think the character who received the most change recently might be Sweet Tooth. Sweet Tooth and Kratos were some of the first characters, maybe the two first characters that they made for the game. You can imagine why. And so after a while of playing the character, and he was a successful character, and we had fun playing him, and everyone thought they had done a very good job, but then we sort of looked up and said, is this character Twisted Metal enough? You know, have we done the franchise a service through this character? Because that's very important for us. So when players sit and they play the game for the first time, they very much feel like, yes, this is Kratos, this is Sweet Tooth. Even though Sweet Tooth has never stepped outside of the truck before, we wanted players to feel the essence of the character come through. And so, sure enough, we didn't feel like Sweet Tooth was quite there yet. Took him back to the drawing board, we made some changes, and we think those changes were for the better. First and foremost, we start off by taking these characters and taking a look at their personalities and again, capturing the essence of those characters, and we bring them over into the PlayStation All-Stars combat system. Eventually, at some point, a play style emerges, and a good example of that is a couple of the characters actually we're going to look at here. In particular, Colonel Radek emerged very early on as one of our really long-range fighters. The best Radeks are going to be the ones who can leverage the large horizontal spaces like in Dreamscape here to really capitalize on the sniper rifle. That's his forward triangle move. It is the move with the longest range in the entire game. It actually has no maximum range. If Radek can get a horizontal line of sight on his opponents, he can hit them from anywhere on the map. I'd say the exact opposite of that playstyle would be Parappa the Rapper. Parappa studies Kung Fu under Chop Chop Master Onion. He's kind of a little guy. He's got short arms, he's got short legs, and so he really has to get in close to do his damage. And as such, he's incredibly potent at close range. And characters will note that when Parappa gets in close, he's capable of doing an extreme amount of damage in an extremely short amount of time. So that's just two really quick examples of how these characters have, from very different worlds, developed quite traditional sort of fighting game playstyles. We have not yet met a character that we didn't think we could make fit in PlayStation All-Stars. I think Fat Princess might be one of the best examples of that. Fat Princess is a character who in her own game doesn't really do a whole lot. Is kind of carried around by her villagers all day long and never really demonstrated any sort of combat aptitude. But what we were able to do is take a look at the game, take a look at the characters, take a look at her character and sort of the play style of her game and find what we feel is a pretty successful translation of that play style. So for us, there's no character that's off limit. We sort of welcome the challenge, the opportunity to try to bring something really new and interesting into these characters, but also at the same time making them feel very familiar.
What is the best rating for Parappa's Rapid?
We are actually aggressively making sure we accommodate both offline and online play. It's been a long time since there's been a really good sort of gather around the same TV screen and play together experience. And we think this game is going to be a welcome addition to that long tradition. We've focused sets of the game a lot, and we've had that response from those guys who are in the dorms now, and they're like, man, this is going to be that great game at my university dorm. I know we're all going to get together and play together, and I'm really looking forward to that. And at the same time, of course, we are in this sort of modern era of games playing. You have to have the online. You know, I don't live in a college dorm. And I'm going to want to have an engaging competitive experience, and we have to provide that as well. We think we've got a really good online multiplayer experience. We've got some unique modes, particularly our tournament mode, which we think will be very successful. We can't wait for people to try out, but also some fun modes that maybe aren't so super serious and competitive. Yeah, well, PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale will be available on the PlayStation 3 this holiday season.